Thank you.
Hey, everybody,
Okay.
welcome to another day in paradise. It's a mule and it's a donkey paradise. I am your tour guide, Dave, along with my tour guide co host, Steve, and we are going to be your guides into the theme park of incredible mule and donkey talk, at least for the next 60 minutes. Who knows? Maybe you'll download some of our past podcasts and you'll listen to them well after this, into the evening, into the morning, and then call in sick to work tomorrow because you stayed up all night listening to Steve and Dave talk about mules and donkeys. What a show they put on. I just couldn't turn it off. Just one more, just one more. That probably won't happen, but Steve, let's make this show a good one. What do you say?
Hey, I think that's a great idea, but start packing your bags. I
Pack your
talked,
bags. Why?
yeah, because I talked to Dave and Di in Australia last night, and they said in 2 years they're going to have babies ready to be ridden at 3 years old. So they want us to get over to Australia and help them with the training.
That would be a lot of fun. So, for folks who don't know, David and Di, they have a breeding program in Australia. Dave and Di were worm farmers and just kind of out of the blue decided to go ahead and get into the mule breeding business. Dave searched all over the globe to find Moses the mule maker. He brought Moses to Australia and now he's got a real authentic mule breeding program going on. Folks are raving about these colts, and we've got folks on here who have them and they love them. That's pretty cool. Steve, when did you talk to him?
Just last night, I knew it was about noon there, and 6 o'clock here, so in PM, and so I talk with him quite often. Several people I call. I got a real good one in the Netherlands. She's a dandy, and
Yeah, that's right. It's real
we
cool. I thought it would be pretty cool to build some sort of a training for like how to do a breeding program. So who knows? Maybe that could be in the cards too. But it was a lot of fun having David Scholl on the program, and so we'll get our bags packed. But you don't have to wait for 2 years to hear what Steve Edwards is going on. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to wait 2 months. You really only need to wait maybe a week and a half because Steve is headed to Alabama, Tuscumbia, Alabama, for the Seven Springs Mule Ride. And Steve, they've got incredible stuff on their website. Tell folks a little bit about what's in store for them when they show up to meet with you at Tuscumbia, Alabama.
what's going to be in store for them is they're going to be able to touch me and smell me and shake my hand and hug me. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, I get lots of hugs. I like the hugs. Anyway, we're going to be learning how to communicate with these mules. Everything's free, Dave. The free word. Yeah, that's free. Everything's free. They've got a bunch of camping there and stuff, and they got a bar and restaurant inside a cave, and they call it the Rattlesnake Bar or Grill or something like that. That's going to be interesting. And then Tim Schultz he's the one kind of hosting it a little bit there. He's been riding that country for over 15 years, and Tim has been trying to get me to get over there to Tuscumbia, and another mule rider been trying to get me to get over to Columbia, and I just my tour before I just couldn't get away. I was pretty much a year in advance to a year and a half in advance on a tour to know where to go. But anyway, now that I'm a little bit more footloose and fancy free here, mule guy, I went ahead and took these two on. It's going to be a lot of traveling. That's the only downside about it.
Yeah, but you're all equipped for that. You got the motorhome. You're ready to go. Susan's got her dream home on wheels there. It's going to be
Yep.
a lot of fun, folks. I put links in the comment section to Alabama and Tennessee. They come up back to back, so you can go to both. Get a double dosage of Steve Edwards and Queen Valley Mule Ranch, or pick which one's closest to you. Either one is going to be a lot of fun, and you'll have lots of great memories. You'll be talking about it for years to come. Really, I want to transition now and say hello to everybody watching. If this is your first time ever hanging out with us, every Tuesday we get together to talk about mules and donkeys, answer any and every question that you've got. And really, that leads me into there's really only three things you need to know about. First and foremost, follow the leader. All of the folks who are sharing on Facebook and YouTube right now, share your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like. We are not robots here. We are people, and we want to say hello to you. We want to get to know you. We want to see you show up week in and week out and get to know your story. And that would be just awesome by us. So your name, where you're watching from, what the weather's like. Second thing we ask is that you help us make this program outstanding. And the way you do that is simply by asking any and every mule and donkey question that you had. We've been doing this for, 5-6 years now, for a long time. And every now and again, there's a question that we haven't gotten. As a matter of fact, right before we hit the big live button, Steve started talking about something that I've never heard him talk about before. So I said, stop. Don't talk about it now. Save the gunpowder. Keep the powder dry. And we'll talk about that on today's program. So we're going to talk about something brand new today. But if you have a question and you're concerned, well, they probably already talked about it, ask it anyways, because that's the only way that you're going to learn. And you know what? You ask that question today, someone's going to watch this program in the future. They're going to love that you asked that question because they're battling the exact same thing. Not only that, if we've answered the question before, we're going to answer it in a unique context specific to you so you can gain the trust of your animal, get results when you train, and have a lot of fun doing it. So that's the second thing. Any and every mule or donkey question, put it in the comments section. Last thing, we ask that you share the broadcast with friends and family. It's real easy. Just click the like and share buttons on Facebook or YouTube, and then you can tag people. So let's say hello to Polly watching from Barnesville, Minnesota, where it's 39 and cloudy. So thankful for the astronauts just splashed down safely. How about that? That was an
Wasn't that
ordeal.
something?
Elon figured it out, got it up there, brought them down, and it's just incredible. Did you see the video of his rocket like landing backwards and coming in and just like redocking? The stuff he's doing with SpaceX is incredible. Trump gets in
No, I
office
didn't
and
see
they
it.
figure out a way to make it happen. So really, really happy that they're back. Really, really happy that they're alive and they're safe and that they
Wow.
prioritized it and they
Wow.
made all the clearance to get them up there and get them back. So thank you, Paulie. Appreciate you bringing that up and allowing us
That
to
just goes
celebrate
to show
together.
you, Dave.
What's that?
Just goes to show you. Just goes to show you. Don't waste your time waiting on the government to get something done. You know,
Yep.
just I mean, looky there. Here's this guy. He's got billions of dollars, and he says, "I'll get it." Zap goes up there and gets it, and now he's fixing. I'm blown away by what he's been doing.
It's pretty incredible a lot of the
Uh,
stuff that he's been doing and
I'm gonna teach him how to ride a mule.
yeah, get Elon on a mule. We should actually start a campaign. Okay, maybe that's for another show. Dave O'Brien, West Texas, back in the great USA, 79 degrees and heavy winds. Leslie, Decatur, Illinois, sunny and 70s. Leslie is our star student right now. We got some great videos that she sent in. That'll be fun. Linda is watching from Conway, New Hampshire, where it's a beautiful day. Got a lot done on the farm. That's got to feel good. Merlin is watching from Northwest Minnesota, about 40 degrees and sunny. Cassia is taking us international, watching from good old Queensland, Australia. Muddy Mules, still overcast. Steve, I've got the first question of the day. This one comes from Tony, and Tony asks the question, I recently purchased a rescue mule about 15 hands high. I'm getting his trust. Supposedly, he was saddled and rode before. Could you help me on an opinion for a next step?
Okay, next step. I could care less if he was ridden or not. Okay, riding, folks. What you got to get that out of your mind. Okay, I know that's the fun part. We have fun. Okay, but listen to me. I don't care if I seen a picture of a 5-year-old little girl riding this mule around. Far as I'm concerned, get this in your head. This mule shouldn't be ridden until you first get your ground squared away, your groundwork. Okay? They use those different things like that as techniques to sell these mules and stuff. Walking across water, going different things, okay? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to start doing ground communication. I don't care if that mule's been down the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I don't care if he's been packing all over Colorado. I get a mule into my place. I don't ride for about 2 to 3 months. Get that in your mind, will you? Because here's the problem. Most of these mules have been, quote, sat on, but there's no foundation. They've been using horse equipment, and now the mule says, I know about that. Oh, I can do that. I can get away from this. I can get away from that. And they will all of a sudden, you think they're just being darlings. Oh, Fluffy is just being just as good as can be. And then one day Fluffy says, you know what? I am the herd leader, and I am going to do this. And we're going to see that here, thanks to Leslie, giving us this great stuff. Now, this gal's tough because this mule's tough. You know, this mule would scare the hair off of most people. And Leslie, she just kind of goes right through it. But end result's pretty cool. But let's go back to this groundwork. I don't care if you bought a $25,000 mule that won the world championships and all this stuff. When you get it home, you start being on their level. You teach them who's the herd leader. You get a feel for them and this sort of thing. Because I guarantee you, and I've told you about this before, I go to a show and I'm doing a clinic, and I just showed everybody doing, on my mule just did all this stuff. And who up here has been riding 20 years? Come on down here, ride my mule. A few minutes later, the mule looked like it wasn't even trained. You just saw me ride it. Just didn't do everything. Oh, it's not the mule's fault, y'all. Is it? No, it's me. Yep. So anyway, what do you have to do? Get my ground communication kit. Don't waste your time just buying the come along. Here's the difference with me. I give you a video and I say, do it like this. Okay. Now I realize that the majority of people, because I see it all the time, when they send me pictures of their mules saddled up. Of course, I'm going to find a couple little things here and there, but some of it's so bad. And I say, did you watch my video? Well, I just thought I could put, no, did you watch my video? Okay. So going back to that, Dave, anybody, you guys start with groundwork, period.
So, Steve, we've talked about this in the past, and I cannot remember what the answer is. I know that part of the deal is, I know that part of the deal is you don't know that mule. I don't know that mule. So I'm not going to get up and ride it when I don't know that mule. Is there some validity to the mule not knowing you as well and not understanding you and communicating? Or is it a matter of, like, do they need to understand and get to know you? Or is it you about understanding and getting to know them? Or is it a little bit of both? How would you put that?
Yeah, the number one thing is you got to think mules, they take care of themselves. All right. And that's really important that you understand that. Mules take care of themselves. And because mules take care of themselves, they're wondering about you. What are you going to do? Are you going to put one of them sorry saddles on me? Or are you going to pick up my foot incorrectly? You see what I'm saying? They want to make sure they're safe. And they don't always trust everybody. Now, I've had a couple mules that have been really nice mules, like my wife's mule, that just trust everybody. Whatever, And I guarantee you, after anybody rode my wife's mule, I always got that mule back and I tuned on it a little bit and got it right. So let's go back, okay? Yes, that mule, you got to spend time getting to know that mule. And you don't do it from the saddle because the majority of you, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm going to. The majority of you are only passengers. You don't actually understand how to fully communicate from the saddle. And I've seen it over my past years of doing seminars, over my past years of judging mule and donkey shows, and horses. I judged them years ago too, all that stuff, okay? And I've seen it. Supposed to be good riders. and it just didn't happen. You got to do it from the ground, and if you can't start from the ground, then don't waste your time getting in the saddle. All right, there you go.
That's great. Thanks, Steve. Next question. This one, I'm going to tell you what I was going to say, and then you tell me if I'm correct or if I'm partially correct or if I'm wrong. This one came in from Ryan. Says, I've been working with my two mules so I can get shoes on them. One of my mules, as soon as I pick up his high knee, he starts leaning on me. What can I do? I got the come along rope. Any suggestions will help. Thank you very much. So this is new to me. What I was thinking was a couple things. Number one, moving him so he repositions himself and he distributes his weight amongst all four of his legs. That takes that out of the picture. That might not be the problem, but do that for sure so you know that's not the problem. And then the other thing is pay attention. Is the mule not standing straight? Is the mule looking all over the place? Is the mule moving about when you're standing there trying to get still? So what I would do, and again, Steve, correct me or expand on, is I would work first about having him stand there straight. If he looks this way, bump him. If he looks that way, bump him. If he tries to get into my space, bump him and get him to stand super straight. And then after you get him to stand super straight and he's not moving about, then go ahead and proceed to try to pick up the foot. And this is where I'm not exactly sure if that's the right step or what I would do if at that point he continues. Maybe if he continues, you just go back to keeping him to stand straight and bumping him with the rope. So how was my answer? Where would you expand? What would you do differently?
Perfect. Yeah, that's the perfect foundation. Standing straight, looking at you, following you, watching you, which where you're going, okay? But standing straight, all four legs being straight, okay? And you can move the halter and move the feet and this sort of thing, but that's perfect. You see, most people only think about go pick a foot. They don't think about the preparation of the mule to be on all fours correctly so that he can lean on his other three and not lean on you. Okay. So, yes, you hit the nail square in the head. Start there first. Now, once you do that, and the mule's standing there nice and quiet, and tail's not switching, everything's quiet, you just kind of tell yourself, all right, I'm going to count to 60, for instance. Okay. And then you count 60, and then you move off 5 feet. Now you have a whole nother world for that mule. All you do is move 5 feet. Start all over again. The first one was good the way you liked it. Okay, you see where we're going? Step 1, 2, and 3, and then we're done for the day. So I go to my second spot, and I get the mule to be standing still and quiet. But Steve, we haven't picked up the feet yet. Yeah, that's right. No, we could care less about picking up feet. Get the mule to listen to you. Now, once you do it a third time, and the mule automatically gets quicker, it'll get zip, zip, zip. The mule will be straight. Everything's good. I'm done for the day. No more. But Steve, I didn't pick up the foot. It don't make any difference. Do your foundation. It's foundation training, you all. So the next time you're going to do those three, and the mule's going to do them good, then you add 3 more and make 6. And the next time you go, 4 to 6 hours a week is a lot of training, folks. Okay. And then you can go once they start standing straight and you barely have to do anything at all. Okay. Then you pick up the quirk. And you got videos of that, and we're tapping the feet, and we're that's the extension of our body, that quirk. And the come along says stand still. Look at the videos that we have, the videos that we just had of the shoer doing all the trimming and shoeing and not tied up. Listen, folks, when you tie a mule up to do things with, you're putting yourself in a lot of danger, because if something scares them, they jump back and then they come forward, they'll be right on top of you. Okay. Or they move sideways and then knock you into the hitching post. But if you're doing like you see me doing the videos, I'm not tied to anything. I've got my come along rope done. And yes, Dave, you hit the nail right on the head. Good job, mule guy.
Awesome. All right. So I found this one. You were talking about Stacy. Take a look at this, Steve. How about that
Oh
right
my.
there?
Ha ha ha. How about that one, huh?
So that's my firstborn, y'all. And
Yeah.
that's all the way back from
Wow.
2015. So he was 3 years old. That's 10 years ago. 10 years
Wow.
ago, actually next week. And
Wow.
he's fixing to turn 13 years old, Steve.
Oh no.
How
Oh,
crazy is that?
that's crazy. Golly. Well, I'll loan you my
So,
55-gallon barrel.
what's that?
I'll loan you my 55-gallon barrel.
Time has flown, and I thought that was Stacy. We got to go out there, spend a little bit of time with Steve and Susan. Isaiah still remembers that, or at least he says he remembers it. Maybe he remembers the picture. The picture jogged his
There you
memory,
go.
but I remember it just like yesterday, watching Susan take Isaiah by the hand and walk him down. Down there, down in the wash area, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was real fun. So, anyways, that's Stacy that Steve was talking about. Let's hop back and say hello to Kenneth, watching from Patton, Missouri, 79 degrees. I'm planning on meeting you all in Tennessee. I'll meet you down in Tennessee. Hey, 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 hey. Jane is watching from North Florida, 70 degrees. Cowboy Ken, 57 degrees, sunny and a beautiful day. Ivy is watching from Maine, where it's a sunny 45 and really nice. The snow has receded. Steve, what does your hat mean?
Oh, that's real special numbers. 316 and 316. And if you put John in front of that, John 316, go look it up in something called the Bible, and it tells you how much God loves you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivy. Daniel is watching from a sunny Mesa. Says, Steve, lately when I enter my mule's corral, he is so scared he tries to break down the gate trying to escape. Once I get the come along hitch on him, he's totally fine though. What am I doing wrong?
You know, Dan, you and I kind of visited with that a little bit. It's only a guy like you that can handle that type of a mule, and I like that kind of a mule because I got to get up a mountain. That kind of mule is not lazy; he can get the job done. But there's nothing you're doing wrong other than maybe start approaching a little bit more quiet. Never ever, folks, when you come into a crowd, don't look down, because if you look down to see where you're stepping and look back up, you just ask for permission to come into that mule's herd. So you're ducking your head, licking your lips, asking for, that's what they do. Okay. When another animal wants to come into a herd, they duck their head and lick their lips and ask for permission to come in. So could be that. Okay. But listen, as soon as he starts to take off, okay, split second, he goes to take off and runs the other way. Hoot and holler, slap your hands back and forth like you and I did in that round pen. Hoot and holler, slap your hands, and when he turns to look at you, you get quiet. What you don't want to do is come real quiet and go real slow to pet him. Have him turn and face you, hoot and holler. That's what you want to do. Listen, folks, anytime one leaves you, they need to understand they're leaving the best thing that ever happened to them. And that is you in that pen, because otherwise you're going to make them run. You're going to make you're going to make them worried. And here's the deal. When they turn to face you, they're saying, "Oh, all right, what do I need to do to have you not be upset at me?" And then you walk over to them. Slow, yes, not real fast, but look them straight at the shoulder with your right eye, straight at the mule with your left eye. Go right to the shoulder. Always pet the shoulder. Okay, um, and go from there. I always, when I got one like that, when I come to open the gate, I look at them, and they're watching me. And then I open the gate. I come in. I close the gate behind me, and then I walk over toward them. If they go to take out, I hoot and holler. I hope that helps you.
Awesome. We got a great video series on our YouTube channel. It's called
Yep.
Establishing Leadership. And that, here, whoop, I got it playing. Let me get the link here. It goes through a husband and wife couple and shows them doing exactly what Steve was talking about right there, making the mule uncomfortable. Visiting hours on, what to do, visiting hours off, what to do, how to approach the animal, what to do if the animal's moving all over the place while you're trying to approach. It's really, really good. Right here, establishing leadership. In the comment section is a link to that playlist. Really, really good stuff. It's unedited. I mean, it just starts, shows you, and then it stops, and then we move to the next scene, but we're not cutting out any section. You get a really good feel for everything from beginning to end. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that question. Continuing on, Linda says, let's talk about trailering. Yes, Linda, let's talk about trailering. What are the ways you like to haul a mule? Is the mule tied? Is the mule loose? Do I put a hay net into the trailer? What is your method? I don't think you tie the mule.
No,
Yeah.
no. What we do is, especially like Randy Figgins, my buddy there, when we was down at the Andrada, and when we've done it at other places too, but just at the Andrada, we saddle the mules all up. We hang the bridles on the horn and tie it off. And then we got the come along hitch on them. We jump them up in a trailer. We turn and we face out. They want to face out backwards. Okay. They don't like being forward. So I turn them around, face out. Now, this is an open stock trailer, and we take the dividers and put them to one side. Okay. And then we pull the come along off, and then we walk out the door. Oh, but Steve, he's going to take off. Then why haven't you done your groundwork? Why haven't you built a good foundation? Because if you do it right, that mule will stand there, and you can walk on out, do what you got to do, close the gate, and the mule will not move. You see? We've got a lot of different videos and stuff on that, but that's what I do. I don't tie my mules. I don't put hay nets in there. I'll tell you why. They can choke. They can't throw up like dogs can, and this sort of thing. Okay, they can't throw up like humans, like predators. They can't throw up. So I have literally heard, I have not seen it, but I've had people tell me that their animal just about kicked the bucket because they choked on that hay. Look, none of these animals are underfed. I'll guarantee it, especially mules. People are overfeeding them to death. They don't need to be fed all the time. Okay, so when do I feed them? Once I've stopped for the night. Now I can tell you that we've traveled all over the United States pulling mules, all over. Okay, we don't take them out and give them breaks or anything like that. No, we get to our next spot, and when we get there, one of two things is going to happen. Either they spend a night in the trailer with their feed and their water, or if we have to have a horse motel, which there's a lot of them around out there, no mule motels, but anyway, and then we could do that. Or fairgrounds. Fairgrounds are really good about letting folks just go there and use the corrals and this sort of thing. But I can tell you some horror stories of people who took their animals out in one of those rest areas and spent days trying to get them back in the trailer because they lost them. You know, so there you go. That's what I do. I do not tie them. I've seen a lot of horses hit the ground and slide and stuff from all the urine and manure, and they don't do good at all, especially if you're using nylon halters. That's horrible because it teaches them to brace. But if you turn them around backwards in there, and if you got several dividing stalls, you can do the same thing. You can turn them around in there, close the dividing stall, pull the come along rope off, and let them stand there. They'll do just fine.
You said the nylon halter teaches them to brace. Why is it that a nylon halter teaches them to brace?
Because they have wide webbing on it, and the halter is too high on the nose. It's on bone, so it doesn't mean anything. So they can pull back. Matter of fact, we used to have what was called halter pullers because these horses would get scared and they'd pull back and they'd break the metal parts on the halter, or they'd even break, in some cases, some of the nylon, but they'd break parts on the halter, the metal parts, and they would brace against it. Where a rope halter, when it's adjusted correctly, it's going to put pressure point in key places, and if they do move their head back incorrectly, or the left or right incorrectly, it's going to bump them and make them uncomfortable. See, where a nylon halter, I'll never forget when I first come around with those. Went back to the ranch at the over on Quarter Line, and Bill Doherty says, "What's those?" And I said, "I'm not tying no more rope halters. Got these nylon halters. $5 right there." Yeah, yeah. Of course, that was a long time ago. So anyway, those all it does is teaches them to brace. Rope halter is the way to go.
Marsha's watching from a sunny and warm Virginia. Good to have you here, Marsha. Susan is watching from Western Pennsylvania. Beautiful today, 70 degrees and sunny. Question: is an adult 5'5", 140 pounds too much for a 13-hand mule? I don't. Is it so much about weight, Steve, as it is about just making sure that the animal is adult enough that the cartilage is all come in and that it's in good conformation?
It's well, the confirmation means a lot always, and the cartilages being closed is another good one, Dave. But here's the thing: just like you and I need to be in condition to go hiking or to go walking and this sort of thing, we build up our strength. We do it. We've got to do the same thing with the mules. Okay. My little mule I rode, he was 13.2, and I'm 200 pounds, and he could pack me all day long with no problem at all. But he was in condition. Okay. And that's really important that you understand. You're preparing him. Now, you have tendons on these mules, and these tendons can be what's called a bowed tendon. You can have an upper bow, so the tendon is shaped like this, and here's the the front of the leg right here, the bone right here, and then here's the tendon attaches down to the bottom of the pastern, okay, and then up toward the knee, and so those tendons can get a high bow, middle bow, low bow. And what happens is, because they're not in condition the majority of the time, they end up, I'm going to call it for better, lack of a better word, twisted an ankle. Okay. And that tendon gets to be real puffy. You can feel it every day, folks. When you are saddling up your mule and you've got the feet all cleaned, you feel that tendon all the way down. Feel what that tendon feels like. Get an idea that that tendon is nice and firm all the way through. If it's puffy at all, you're starting to get a bowed tendon. In other words, it's inflamed, and they will start gimping on it. So every day you check it out when you go to saddle them up, and then when you're done at the end of the day, you check out those tendons, make sure they're good. So the key thing is conditioning, conditioning, conditioning.
Very good. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. Sherman's watching from Norman, Oklahoma. 80 degrees. Good to have you here, Sherman. Edna is watching, loves watching from Spring Hill, Florida. 75 degrees. 75. Now it's sunny with a high of 75 since you took my heavy heart and made it light. And it's funny how you find you enjoy your life when you're happy to be alive. There you go. That one was for you, Edna. Ivy is watching. Duh, I knew that. Thanks, guys. Absolutely. David Scholl. Hey, here we go. David Scholl, we were talking about you. His ears must have been burning. Morning from Queensland, hot and humid. Was great talking with you this weekend. Good to have you here, David. Yes, we were talking about you. All good things, all good things. Tim's watching from Montana, 41 with snow flurries. Marty is watching from North Mississippi, says, first time live with you. We are so glad to have you here, Marty. Thanks for making the effort. That really does mean a lot to us. And we know there's a lot of things y'all could be doing with your time, so thank you, Marty. Kimberly from Maryland, high of 65 and sunny. I only sing the song when it's 75 and sunny, because those are the lyrics to the song. Steve, next question. This one came in over the last week. From Ben, says, I'm looking to buy 2 mules in the near future and a horse trailer with living quarters to be able to take them on trips with me and my wife. I have zero experience with any equestrian animal in a trailer. I'm looking for any pointers and advice anyone have. Me and my wife have talked about taking them across country out west to ride with them at places like Grand Canyon, but that's literally a day drive. How would I go about hauling them 24 hours? So we already talked a little bit about trailers. We'll point Ben back to that. Anything else for this particular situation, Steve?
Well, it's like anything else, just get information, information, information. But when it comes to these new trailers, they haul really nice. They're very comfortable for the animals. and of course they're very comfortable for the people at the end of the day too. I can tell you that I know haulers that have literally put mules in the trailer on the East Coast and drove straight through to the West Coast. They've done it at Bishop all the time, uh, and, uh, and brought in lots of horses. So it all comes down to have them in good condition first. Make sure they got electrolytes, and then go from there. So as far as you're buying your mules and this sort of thing, be careful out there. There's a lot of people who sell mules, but they don't always know a lot about the mules, and sometimes you don't get the truth. So uh, I hope you do good on that, and don't ask me to get you a mule because I don't know you and I don't know the mule.
If you can't see it, or if you can't touch it, if you can't smell it, if you can't, what is it? If you, how did you word it? It was like, if you can't touch it, if you can't smell it, you can't buy it. Something like that.
There you go. You hit the nail right on the head there, mule guy.
Something like
That's
that.
right.
Okay. Tracy asked a follow up question. We talked a little bit in a past event about, or past clinic about dentists. Tracy says, I'm hearing mixed messages on a vet giving calming med while getting teeth done. What do you think, Steve?
Well, a lot of people, the veterinarians, they're used to doing that, y'all. It's part of their life. Give them the drugs, put them to sleep, and go from there. But I can tell you, I was just talking to some people from a donkey rescue the other day. They said we'd give this donkey enough drugs to kill a rhinoceros, and he's even crazier. And that's what happens, folks. Hopefully your vet does a good job and give them just enough to get them quiet. It's really you can put a twitch on there and create natural endorphins to get the job done. And you can reach in and get their tongue and pull it out and get the job done. But veterinarians are not trained like that. They're used to giving them the different drugs that they have, and it makes them quiet, and they can do from there. Okay, so trust your vet as much as you can. Find a good one that'll take his time, and then go from there.
That's what I was wondering. My first response was going to be, yeah, use the twitch to create the natural endorphins. I mean, is there any reason why you wouldn't use a twitch when you're doing dental work?
No, I would go right to the Twitch
Okay.
right now. Anytime we did clinics out, and we had my buddy John, who is a equine dentist, and I met him up in Minnesota, and I hunted with him in Idaho and all this stuff. He loved it when I was doing clinics because I'd go over there, put that Twitch on, get him nice and quiet. He'd put uh, I forgot the name of it now, but it keeps the mouth open so that he can do his dental work. And that twitch is on there. If the mule gets upset, he'll go ahead and open and close it, and build the natural endorphins and go back to sleep. But your vets are they're being trained a different way, y'all. So you're pretty much going to have to kind of go along with what they're doing. Okay, it's called a spectrum, is what it is. But yeah, it's I love twitches. It's the way to go to be able to to give your mule a natural way to be able to relax while you're getting something done.
Next question comes in from Alma. Alma says, "What would be better for donkey? What wormer would be better for donkey? Any recommendations? She's a mammoth. She's 7 and healthy."
Good deal. Okay, so your wormers, any of them are going to be fine. Of course, ivermectin's my favorite, but I also switch them out. Okay, don't use ivermectin over and over and over and over again. Okay, that's the way it used to be. We always traded out, and we did something else for panicure, things like that. But it depends on how many times a year you do it. We only basically do it one time. The biggest thing you can do, of course, is to get a fecal test. You go out and get you a few, and this is one of my favorite things, you all, to see how much sand that these animals have in their bellies, and to also see about any type of worms and stuff. Take a quart mason jar, okay, and put about 4 road apples in there in water, and shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Okay. And when they finally everything kind of disappears, you can see the sand on the bottom of the mason jar, and you can see the worms floating around and things like this. You can do it that way too. Is one way to figure out if your mule is going to have any type of problems. It is natural for them to have a little sand. Okay, it's natural because they do nibble little pieces of manure and stuff up off the ground. But start with ivermectin. That's one of my favorites, and then go from there.
Very good. Let's see here. Hey, the captain's watching. Good afternoon, Chaplain Steve and Chaplain Dave. Captain Richard Matthews, good to have you here. Thank you for watching. Misty is watching. Beautiful and 79 here in Texas. Steve, I thought now would be a good time to go to these awesome videos that Leslie sent in. Number one, what video do you want to start with? Let me know that, and then while I'm pulling that up, you can explain to me what we're going to be looking at.
Well, we'll start with the one of her next to the trailer there, and she's walking up to the white mule in the trailer.
All right, I'll cue that up. You go ahead and tell folks what we're going to be seeing.
Okay, folks, remember I tell you about switching the pin in the ears and switching the tail and elevating the head. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. All right, you're getting ready to see it here right now. Watch this. There's a little quiet mule. It's all fluffy. He's right there. Here comes Leslie up. Pets on the shoulder. Goes to move the stirrups or do the cinches. And look at Miss Grumpy Mule here. Swishing her tail. Pinning her ears. I don't like that. I'm the boss. I'm going to do what I want. Y'all see that? Okay. And that she's trying to help out the mule. She did something here I would never suggest to do, and that is to crawl underneath the rope. I've seen some of these boogers pull back and run back. But see the pinning of the ears, swishing of the tail. This mule saying, "I'm the boss. I don't like what you're doing." Da 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 da. Now Leslie's one great rider. I'm going to tell you. I've seen this gal riding on the video here, and she's pretty impressive. She's on that cowboy hat she's got there. It's a helmet. Good for her. Okay. And there she goes, kind of standing up. There you go. Look at the spinning of the ears. She's quite a rider. I don't want to suggest that to everybody, but still, look at the pinning of the ears. This mule's Miss Grumpy. I wouldn't do that. That's what she says. I'm going to get you. All right? I'm going to get you. And then we got the next video.
All right, which video do you want to go to next?
That's the one where the mule's running off bucking.
All right. That is, let's see here. That's the one where the mule's saying, "I'm the herd leader."
I'm the herd leader.
All right, here we go.
Now she just put the saddle on this mule. See this mule taking off bucking, throwing a fit. I don't like this. I'm the herd leader. You're not supposed to do that to me. And look at the mule take off running. Now, does this mule have a sorry attitude? Yeah. A lot of people would just say, I don't want nothing to do with that mule, But this mule is a very forward mule, and Leslie's a good rider. So she's letting the mule do what a lot of people do, and that is kind of warm them up and let them go. And some of them are a little bit, it's called cold backed, actually, and it's from over cinching these mules, too much at one time. Remember when you cinch up a little bit, move the mule. Cinch up a little bit, move the mule, okay? Now, let's take the next thing. I told Leslie, I suggest you go to the chiropractor, get the chiropractor work done, get the mule all straightened up, and then that will most likely fix the problem. If there's a back problem, then the veterinarian's going to find it. So she said, okay. And next thing I know, I get this video back here of the mule with the come-along hitch on. Now, she's not been using the come-along hitch on this mule because she didn't think it was really important. But now, guess what? She is. Watch this. Up, the rope's on the ground. You remember the grumpy mule? Cinches, moving all around, tapping things, cinching things up. She's getting her come-along rope ready. Getting ready to do a little cinching. This is where the mule gets worried. Now look, the mule dropped his head. Look at the ears. They're not pinning ears. They're listening ears. They're I'm a good boy mule. See that? Look at that. Look at the difference in the attitude of that mule compared to before. Look at all she's making all the fast movements and everything. And she not you don't have that mule tied. Y'all see that? That is respect. Look at that. She's a better rider than me. There you go. How about that, folks? She fixed that thing with the come along hitch. Miss Grumpy Mule now says, yes, ma'am, Miss Leslie, what would you like to have? Now, Leslie tells me she wants to use this on her husband and get him straightened up next. No, not really. Now, how about that, folks? There you go. She's a happy mule rider. Yeah, look at that. All right, folks, does the come along hitch work? Yes, yes. Why are you getting in the saddle? Why are you riding? Now, she's a good rider. I don't say that about too many people, y'all. Okay, and I've seen her doing some riding and asking questions during our some of our clinics and this sort of thing. And let me tell you, there is the end result right there. You took a grumpy mule that was the herd leader, okay, and now look how it's changed. Now look at her riding centered. Look how she's squared shouldered. And she's riding right with the mule. She's riding the mule. This is riding. This is not setting, okay? This is riding. Look at her hands. Hands are down nice and quiet. She's going along with the pursuit of the mule. Okay, this is equitation. This is what it looks like, you all. Equitation. This is lead changing, going into the right lead now. She's going around to the right lead. The mule goes into a little canter there. There's the right lead, right lead, right lead. She comes around. Looky there. See? That's equitation. That's riding. You see where her hands are? You see how she's standing up in the saddle? Nice and quiet. That's what equitation looks like, you all. Okay? That's it. And if she wasn't such a good rider, that mule would have already schooled her, but she did very good there. Yay, Leslie. I can't wait to see you in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's real neat. I appreciate her sending those in and us getting a chance to watch those and experience them together. Yeah, she's right here. Thank you, Leslie. We really appreciate it. Okay, Misty has the question. Have you ever used SandClear? It was suggested to look into due to our area. What's SandClear, Steve?
SandClear, there's a lot of different names for this particular product, but what it amounts to is they eat it in their grain and stuff, and it's a powder. And then when it gets into their system, when they drink water, it creates, for lack of a better word, kind of a plastic puddle. All right. And when these animals then go to the bathroom, this stuff goes through and actually cleans out the intestines and the stomach. And then when they go to the bathroom with their road apples, you'll see these little almost pancakey looking clear puddles that are sometimes anywhere from paper thin to a quarter-inch thin, and it cleans out all the sand. Okay, yes, it's a great product, and I understand. I'm here in Arizona, and I've had some of the same things with sand colic, but and you can sure use that. It's a good product, all right. But I like to use boy, I hate that when I draw blanks like that. It'll come to me in a minute. Hmm.
Usually it's Espana silk that you can't remember to say, and I'm like
Yeah,
right there on the
yeah,
cue, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it
yeah.
is either.
Well, what it is, it's like my turnips. Um, oh golly, I can't believe I've done that. It'll come to me here in a second. Soon I'll forget about it. Anyway, I add water to it, and I put it in with with some oats and this sort of thing, and then the mule eats it and it clears it out, and it's not turnip greens. It's oh well, as soon as I quit thinking about it, it'll come back to me here in a second.
Beet pulp.
Beet pulp.
That's Dave
Good.
O'Brien. That's Johnson. That's Sherman and Dave O'Brien right there.
Ah, all right, they got it. Good for them. I thought maybe Mule Guy got it there. Good for him. Beet pulp. Yes,
Yeah,
beet
yeah,
pulp.
yeah, yeah. That one was me. That was me.
Yeah. I might have known Sherman and Dave would be doing that. Good for you guys. Good for you. Now, beet pulp. It's great. It's all natural. Okay, and believe me, it does clean out that insides. It's really good. But listen, remember the quart jar, putting 4 or 5 road apples in there, shaking it up, and let it all dissipate down, and it'll show you if you got a lot of sand in there. Now, if say for instance here in Arizona, in Yuma, Arizona, you buy hay down there, it's really sandy. It is horrible. Okay, and you better be giving your mule some type of sand remover because it's so bad. But beet pulp is the way to go. Thanks, Sherman. Dave, you're hired.
There we go. Steve, so earlier this week on Facebook, I made a message where I said, all you need to do is train 4 to 6 hours a day. And one of the faithful, one of the Mule Ranch faithful spoke up and said, I think that's a typo. And another Mule Ranch faithful said, yeah, that's a typo. That would be one mad mule. And so I told you that. I got a giggle out of it. I thought it was funny. Yeah, 4 to 6 hours a week, not 4 to 6. That's a lot of training for a week. That would be murder for doing daily. But then you said something to me. You said the only time I do that is when I'm up in the saddle. I'll train 8 hours in the saddle. I don't train 8 hours on the ground. And I said, well, and I stopped and I thought, okay, no, first I thought, is he joking with me? Is he messing with me? Is he messing with the mule guy? And then I thought, no, he's got a serious face. I think he's serious. And so I said, is there a difference? And you were about to go into it. And I said, no, save that powder, keep it dry. Let's talk about it on the program. I am genuinely curious. I'd never thought about this. We say only training 4 to 6 hours a week on the ground, but you're right. When you're up in the saddle, no matter how long you're in the saddle, it is a constant training. It is a constant reinforcement because they're taking everything in. What makes that difference? Why is it different to do it from the saddle for such an extended period of time versus from the ground?
All right. When we are training, and I'm going to change that word, when we are building a foundation, difference. We're building a foundation. 4 to 6 hours a week is a lot. 3, 6, 9, 12, right? That's a lot. Now, I have my foundation. Listen to the key word. Listen to the key word. I'm in the saddle now. I'm in the saddle. Now I've taken all of my groundwork. I've done all of my foundational training. And now I'm in the saddle. And now I can start building a foundation now from the saddle, i.e., training, yes, okay. But now I'm putting my leg on there. Now I have my weight. Now I'm using my hands a certain way, all right? But I can do that on the side of a mountain because I use bushes to go in and out. And I'll go in and out of the bushes and I'll stop them. I'll back up a little bit and I'll make a turn, you see? And it keeps their minds busy because they say, hey, I know that. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I know that, you see? But then I put it into action on the side of a mountain. I use my bushes to go in and out of. I got my steep area to go down, and I ask them to back up a little bit to kind of hold me back. Go down the hill slow. I gotta go cross over an arroyo, okay? Rather than have them jump, I go down into it slow. But what did I do? I took my foundation that I built on, and now I make that foundation into what they would be doing in everyday life, and I put more life into it. Do you see that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I get that. And you know what? I did the exact same thing that we talk so much about is training. There is no such thing as train. There is only such thing as foundation, right?
Mhm. Right.
Because you can't train to all of the different things. Every day is a new day for a mule. Every day is a new day for a donkey.
Mhm.
Something moves. Something's different. The tree loses its leaves. The tree has more leaves. There's a shadow. Like it's all a new. Everything is a picture, and it's all new for them just about
Right.
every day. And
Right.
there's no way that you can train for that. So the idea of training, it is when you're building a foundation. Like that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about on the ground, is that building of the foundation versus what you were talking about on the saddle. So that makes
Yeah,
a lot of sense.
you take everything that you've been putting together, all that 5 or 6 months, and you take it all that and you open the gate and you go up the trail. All right. Now, as you're going up the trail, I'm not just sitting there. Okay. I'm going along and the mule looks off to the right. I bring him centered. Where did we get that? The mule looks off the left. I bring him centered. The mule looks up to see what's over there. I bring his head down. You see what I'm saying? Now I am riding. Okay. I'm not sitting, because riding, I control every movement that the animal does. Now, just like Leslie was doing earlier, you seen her when she was riding those figure eights. You didn't hardly see her move. Did you see her hands move? You remember the videos that we were watching on equitation, Dave?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You see what Leslie was doing?
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay. Same thing on a mule. Didn't have the pretty arenas and all this stuff, but still, she was doing figure eights, using her hands and her body and her legs, taking what the foundation she had been built and putting it in now to equitation. Not riding, not setting. Equitation is your upper level. It's where you want to attain to get there. You know?
That makes a lot that makes a lot of sense. That transition from taking everything and then not riding, not sitting, but equitation. It's that active involvement. And what did you say? It's like ride, is it 80% with your legs, 20% with your hands?
Very good, mule guy.
And
Yep.
you could see her, like, if you know to watch for that, like, folks, you have to understand, I am not an equine person. I did not grow up on the ranch. I did not grow up as a cowboy. I've hung out with Steve for 15 years. And so I've picked up things. And so now, like, now that I know that equitation is a thing, now that I know that you don't just sit, now that I know these things, like when you know these things, that's why it's important to ask questions. When you know these things, then you can actually see it play out, and it gives you a good idea of, okay, now when I like that's what I need to try to emulate. That's what I need to practice to do. How am I doing? Am I doing this correctly? But you have an idea of where you're headed. So I think that's good. Hey, Steve, we've got a question here from Zath. Says, have you had good experiences with making a mule lay down to help fix an attitude? Do you think it helps to pet and comfort them while laying down? What process have you used to lay one down? I really struggled recently to make my mule Ferris to lay down. And Steve, you're not one for making them lay down.
No.
Not one
No.
for making them lay down. And when we're talking about fixing an attitude, Zath, what you'll find is we really come back to the come along rope and communication. And the reason why we do that, and I appreciate the sentiment, what you're trying to share. The reason why we do that is because we look at how the lead mare functions as the herd leader, the body language of that lead mare, the physical reaction and response of that lead mare, and then we take that and we translate it into a technique that we can do. We're not going to spin around and kick a mule. Like, one, that'd be a crazy ninja skill. Two, it wouldn't do anything because this animal is hundreds of pounds. But we get the come along rope, and we use that come along rope to do what the mare does: ask, tell, demand. The mule comes in, the mare pins her ear, says, "Don't come no closer." She's asking. The mule doesn't listen, keeps on coming. The mare starts swishing her tail. She says, "Don't come no closer." That's telling. Finally, the mule doesn't listen. The mule goes in, mare spins around, whacks him in the face. That's demanding. And so when we're talking about fixing an attitude, the mare tells us ask, tell, and demand, comfortable, uncomfortable, when you're trying to communicate and fix the attitude of this mule. So you get the
Right.
come along rope to make an attitude adjustment. And the goal isn't to continually put pressure on their nose. No, the goal is to get them to respect you and understand you as the herd leader. And in order to do that, you've got to communicate in their language. The petting makes us feel good. The comforting makes us feel good. I've got this little, 8-pound Maltese dog at home that I just love picking up and carrying around. And it makes me feel so good. And she wags her tail. I guess she likes it. But that's for us when it comes to the mule, when it comes to the donkey. What they want more than any, well, they want to be left alone. They want to be comfortable. But what they're looking for is leadership, herd leadership. And I think that's really what you want to be looking at, Zath. Steve, anything you would add there?
Oh no, that was poetry, man. I mean, that was that was right, perfect, right, laid it right out. Couldn't got better. You showed the predator, you showed the prey. That was very good, mule guy. Good for you.
I'm
Good for you.
trying. Zath, I know that that's a lot. If you have any follow up questions, be sure and let us know. Really, the tool, Zath, that you and anybody who just really wants to have a great experience owning a mule, working with a donkey, you could do all sorts of different things. The one thing that we really recommend is a come along rope because that is your communication. That is your direct line of communication with the animal. And they are going to hear, if you can get your timing right, they are going to hear you loud and clear, and they're going to want to learn to please you. Now, well, some of them have, a different disposition and be harder to work with. Sure, that's what we've heard. But that communication comes from that come along rope, speaking the way that they speak, not the way we want to. Tony has a question. How would you apply a mule that supposedly was rode and was in a rescue 3 times? I'm finally gaining his trust and allows me to scratch him. I mean, just ground foundation, right? Nothing
Right.
but ground foundation,
That's
relentless
it.
ground foundation.
You got to remember when these animals go through those cells and the rescue, okay, they've already gone through several people and they've learned how to get around you. So gaining their trust, no, that's a good deal, all right. But you got to be the herd leader. Put that come along rope on there. You just saw Leslie. You just saw her with a grumpy mule that has been ridden and stuff and had a poor attitude, and Leslie fixed it with the come along rope. Okay. Now her timing was impeccable. And of course, she done more than what you see there, and she had been putting it off. But when she finally used it and finally did it, because her timing was good, wham, look at the end result. Okay. Folks, don't forget about riding. Okay. And when you buy one from a rescue, get ready to have your butt whipped. You'll get your butt handed to you. I'll guarantee you. It's tough. I used to get all of my mules from the kill centers. Okay. Mainly because nobody hardly had any mules. So they just take mules there to the kill center. And I'd buy them 25, $30, bring them, pack them, ride them, all that stuff. But we're talking 50 years ago too, y'all. Okay. And those mules would eat you alive. So, so groundwork, groundwork, groundwork. Get your come along, get your rope halter, get your video, buy the communication kit, and start learning to communicate.
That's great. I put a link in the comment section, folks. Steve has an article. It's all about rescuing mules and donkeys from a kill pen. It's something that we got asked so many times. So number one, often it's just like, hey, they're there. They're often there for a reason, but so many people continued to purchase them or walk away with them that we put an article together. I just put a link in the comment section. Y'all can check that out. I also put a link to the Ground Foundation training kit. We don't tell you what to buy, but we strongly encourage that you get this one, and don't get cheap on yourself and just get the come along rope if you don't have the problem mule instructional video. Once you have that and you want another rope, great. That's fine. We actually got a comment here from one of our friends in Australia. Says, I still use my come along rope a lot. Long walks, wet weather, it's nice and light, doesn't get wet and yuck. So, I mean, it's an incredible tool, but get the entire kit if you don't have the instructional video. Steve, the last thing that I want to do, and then we'll call it good for today, is you had been talking with Leslie, and she had messaged in. You've already answered this question, but I want to know the answer. She says, when resting at the horse trailer, it's common for my mules to paw, and I frequently find myself concerned that they might impact the tire stem and damage my tire. Follow. Yeah, there you go. What would you do in that case, Steve?
Well, and I'm going to show Leslie a lot of people there. I take a horseshoe and I put it on about 14 inches of baling twine, and I tie a loop around above the knee, and I tie the baling twine down to the shoe, and then I take baling twine from the part that goes above the knee. I go up over top the neck, and I go to the other leg and tie it there. The one that goes up over top the neck is to keep it from sliding down the leg. Okay. And the idea of the horseshoe on the end of about 12 to 14 inches of baling twine is to bang against the cannon bone. Okay. And when they paw, it bangs against the cannonball, and when it cannon bone, and when it does that, it makes them uncomfortable and they stop pawing. Now, so immediately, as quick as you can, get that hobble off of there and let them see that when they don't paw, it won't go on there. When they do paw, it's going to go on there. You see, so that's, and then what I usually do is I tie that hobble up by the rope where they can see it. Anyway, that works really good, and I'll be demonstrating that. And I usually use I've used all kinds of different things to do that, but that's the inexpensive cowboy way. Why are they pawing? Because they want something. Usually they want to roll, or usually they want to get a bite of grass or something like that, or get in some water. You're not going to stop them from pawing, but you could teach them standing right here, standing here, you are not to paw. Now, the other thing I would do is I would buy these tire covers. They're only about $10 a piece. You can get them on Amazon, and you can put them across the tire, and then when they paw, you'll have a lot more harder time hitting the stem. And I always, would suggest to you, make sure that stem is up high on the top and not down on the bottom where they can paw it. So you might want to consider that as well. But the best thing I would do is and don't ever hobble them, folks. If you hobble them, you're going the opposite of what a hobbles is supposed to be. Hobbles is for them to stand still and quiet for a few minutes, not all night, not for a couple hours. But if you train them with this horseshoe contraption, it works great.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I want to remind you that we are closing in on the Alabama Seven Springs Mule Ride, where Steve will be there presenting his clinic. So all of the information, you can get it there in the link in the comment section for Alabama. Then he's driving up to Tennessee for Columbia, Tennessee Mule Day. You can sign up. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Plenty of things for your family to enjoy, and maybe get a picture with Steve Edwards in the process. And then I want to let you know, even if you can't come out to one of the live events, that's okay. Coming up mid-April, we've got an absolutely free, 100% free clinic. We're going to be talking about spring clean and repair. Just overlooking, addressing the things that are so easy to overlook and jeopardize having a fruitful and enjoyable spring and summer with your mule and your donkey and your tack. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited for that. Steve, anything you want to say before we close out today?
Oh, I think we're good, man. We're off and running.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Take care, and we will see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.